So, do you remember saying something along the line? No, you don't. Exactly. Something along the lines of, as long as we don't get time travel, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're here.
Oh, fuck you.
This is where, I know I've said this like 3 times throughout this project, but this is where shit starts to get real weird. We had Kingdom Hearts 1 and then Chain of Memories, and then Kingdom Hearts 2 is where we introduce nobodies and like multiples of the same person. This is where I think most Kingdom Hearts fans will agree shit start to turn from, okay, this is a little weird, into, I don't know what drugs they were on while writing this, but I kind of want some.
Alrighty then. Well, I guess we'll get into that. Also, nice title thingy, 3D, and then the 3 words with the D.
Yeah, I fucking hate it, because this was at a time, this was 2012, right? This is, I think, 2012, maybe 2013. 2012 in Japan, I'm pretty sure. And at this point, people were really starting to think, when are we actually gonna get Kingdom Hearts 3? Because Kingdom Hearts 2 was 2005, so it's been 7 years. And there's been a lot of games released in between that most people like weren't too aware of because they were on like 50 different consoles. So here, people were like, this is Kingdom Hearts 3D.
Ah, you bastards.
On the 3DS, but we're going to be talking about the HD remake, which is obviously not on the 3DS because it's on a console that can actually render more than 2 pixels.
I mean, if you're going to make an HD remake, then you need something that can put out HD. That would be useful.
Well, it's not even on the Switch. It's PS4 and PS5. Well, PS3 and PS4. This one is specifically only PS4, actually. Never mind all that. I could go into a whole rant about Kingdom Hearts on Switch because that's a thing, but we'll leave that for some other time. For now, let's get into this because it's going to be a decently long one, I'm afraid.
Alrighty.
So we start in Radiant Garden, not with Sora, but with the members of the organization before they turned into nobodies. And as a matter of fact, we are seeing them fade away here. This is when they're turning themselves into Heartless and Nobody. So this is in between the time of Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep and Kingdom Hearts 1.
And why did they do that again?
Because they were researching the hearts and seeing what would happen if you separate hearts from bodies, and are trying to recreate artificial hearts, and they're just scientists. And because Ansem the Wise told them, hey, maybe don't experiment on children, they started experimenting on themselves, I suppose.
They're the typical movie scientists who are like, my research is so good, I'm gonna inject myself. Uh-oh, it went wrong.
They are literally that, yeah. At least some of them. Xehanort has a specific reasoning to do that, which we'll actually talk about in this game.
Alrighty then.
Isn't that neat? So, Braig is also here, and I royally fucked up this screenshot. Asking Xehanort, is this the way you wanted it? These people are fucking dying. I don't know what's going on here. To which Xehanort, which is in Terra's body, if you forgot that, summons his Keyblade, and Braig realizes, wait, did you get your memory back? Because Xehanort had amnesia. Or maybe you never lost your memory to begin with.
Bam, bam, bam.
To which Xehanort stabs him in the fucking chest with his Keyblade.
I mean, that's one way of giving an answer.
And Xehanort says, I'm not Xehanort, call me Ansem. Which is when he steals Ansem's name, and that's the reason that the Heartless is called Ansem, but we also have an actual Ansem, and we've gone over that whole clusterfuck before.
Yeah.
That's the prologue, so that's a little bit of back in the day this happened with the organization. Meanwhile, Riku and Sora are on the Destiny Islands, and they are looking a lot younger than you might imagine them to look after Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah.
Because these are the Kingdom Hearts 1 designs. What the fuck is up with that, you might be wondering.
Yes.
We'll get to that. So, in Kingdom Hearts 1, they were building a raft to get off the island, because that was a whole big plan of leaving the island with a raft and like 3 fish and a coconut as food.
Even though they probably had boats lying around, but yeah.
Yeah, they had little rowboats which they used to get onto the island, but they need a raft to get actually off the... Well, in this case, in this timeline, whatever, they actually built a raft, and they go out to sea with the raft, where they run into Ursula from The Little Mermaid. She's apparently been expecting them to be here. That's why she shows up. She says, he was right. These little pipsqueaks are here. And I want to go on a little bit of a tangent already here. The funny thing is that both Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2 had a Little Mermaid world, which you might recall me not talking about either of them, I think.
Yeah.
because they're both optional worlds in those games. So it's a real possibility that somebody playing through the entire series has never seen Ursula up to this point. And now she's here to get revenge for something that you as a player might not even have done.
Let alone if you haven't played any of the other games. But then again, if you did that
you should not be playing this game.
Nothing would make sense, yeah.
But this is the tutorial. Ursula's literally the tutorial for this game. It's the weirdest fucking tutorial ever.
So you have a tutorial boss fight?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's hardly a boss fight. She's just, well, technically I suppose it's a boss fight, but it's really, really hard to lose.
I mean, watch me.
I honestly think, unless you're playing on the hardest difficulty, at that point, everything is possible to lose. But if you're just playing on like normal difficulty, you probably would be fine. It feels like they forgot to make a tutorial and threw this in. That's what it feels like.
It's fine, as long as you have a tutorial.
And it does what it needs to do, and the entire world after this also functions as a tutorial, so it's fine. Anyway, Sora and Riku get absolutely fucked up after the tutorial and fall into the depths of the water.
Into the sea. Yeah.
They fall into the sea, indeed. Where they find a underwater keyhole, which they open up with their keyblades. That's the whole thing that they're going for, which we'll explain in a moment, because this game is the least fucking linear experience ever. But,
looking forward to it already. Yeah.
Yeah. Specifically, this first, 10-15% of the game is really chaotic. After that, we get into a little bit more structure, kind of. As they open up that keyhole, we see Mr. Brown Robe Dude from Kingdom Hearts 1. Remember him?
Yeah. Do we already know who that is?
Yeah.
Thinking, but I'm not getting there.
This is Ansem.
Oh, yeah.
The Heartless, the dude that possessed Riku. Which, he says his iconic line from Kingdom Hearts 1. This world has been connected. And then we fade to black.
Mm-hmm.
Ominous. Apparently, he's up to something. And Sora and Riku are also doing a thing. We have no idea what the fuck is going on.
And also, ding, 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 we have our first hooded figure.
Oh, there's gonna be a lot more.
I'm fucking counting on it.
We missed out on a lot of hooded figures in the last game. We're gonna make up for it with this one, don't you fucking worry. So would you like to know what the hell is actually going on here? Because we're just getting thrown into this shit and no explanation so far.
That would be useful, yes.
Let's flash back a little bit to Yensid's tower. This is gonna happen throughout the game. Sometimes after you beat a world, you get a pop-up. Do you want a flashback scene to get some context? And apparently you can just say no to that. I don't know why you would ever say no to that, but you can.
Yeah, maybe on another playthrough, but...
Fair enough, but at that point you can just skip cutscenes anyway. Like any cutscene in the game, you can just press start and skip cutscene. So I don't know why they made a special deal out of it.
Also, Yensu still looking like he has just put away 3 lines of sniffy dust.
Yensid explains that now that Master Xehanort is coming back, we're going to need a new generation of Keyblade Masters to combat him. And as such, we need a Mark of Mastery exam. That's what we left off the secret ending with last time. Because Xehanort is a Keyblade Master, which is scary enough as is to fight, but he's also particularly talented as a Keyblade wielder, which is kind of a problem for us, because we're not.
And these two fuckers just were like, I have Keyblade, let's see what we can do with it.
Never officially trained, just they got a Keyblade and started hitting Heartless over the head with it, which is fine, but when you're up against somebody that's actually trained for this shit and then also very talented, that's kind of you need a little extra.
Yeah.
And that talent is also the whole reason that we're in this situation to begin with, because if you are not overly talented, wielding a Keyblade and mastering a Keyblade is difficult enough. For Xehanort, that wasn't really enough, so he started thinking about the big questions in life, right? What is the meaning of life? How do hearts work? How does light and darkness interact? And because of that curiosity that he has, because he pretty much just got bored with normal Keyblade training, that's why everything that's happened so far in the whole series has happened.
Well, it was just typical bad guy things I'm pretty good at this. This is boring. I need more power.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what we're going for here. So, of course, we need the cliche, forget everything you think you know, and you need to start your training over again. And that's our reason for being level 1 in this game again.
And I'm still waiting for someone to use that line, forget everything you think you know, and then a protagonist just falling on the ground, drooling, actually forgetting everything. and then asphyxiating because he forgot to breathe.
That's literally the plot to a SpongeBob episode.
Is it?
Yeah, there's one SpongeBob episode where Squidward gets to be in charge of the Krusty Krab because he wants to like impress one of his old high school bullies. And at some point he says to SpongeBob, okay, forget everything you know except for breathing and fine dining. And within like 2 seconds off screen, that means that SpongeBob transformed the whole Krusty Krab into like a 5-star establishment. But at some point, Squidward's bully is like, oh, this is actually really good. I would like to meet the chef and ask him what his name is. But SpongeBob forgot everything he knew except fine dining and breathing.
Right.
So he doesn't know his own name. And that makes him have a mental breakdown. So it's been done. But so that's what we're doing. We're going through a Mark of Mastery exam, which also doubles as a bit of training that we have to do. And Sora's like, but that's just a formality, right? We don't actually need this. We're good. It's just a formality to get a title. And Riku says, I'm not so sure. I still have darkness inside my heart, and I'm worried that I'm not worthy to be a Keyblade Master.
Well, if we're looking at the last guy who had a bit of darkness icky on his hand, then yeah.
Yeah, you probably should be worried about that, because that's the whole reason that Xehanort became a problem. So, kind of like justified to be worried about the whole darkness with Keyblades. Just like, don't do that.
He doesn't know that. But...
He doesn't know that, but Yen Sid definitely does.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, flashback aside, let's go back to our real-time stuff, where Sora's young again and has new clothes.
For reasons?
Would you believe me if I say this is relevant?
No, God.
We'll get to that. Sora specifically notes that he has new clothes and wonders why he has new clothes, and thinking, oh, this must just be part of Yen Sid's magic and part of the test. For some reason, he assumes that.
Sure.
And Sora notes that Riku is nowhere to be found, so he goes out to look for Riku, because he's in Trevor's town. But he doesn't get too far before he runs into another anime boy. This is Neku from The World Ends With You, which is another game that Square Enix has made.
Is his name Neku because you can't see his neck, or?
I have no idea. It probably means something in Japanese that I'm not aware of. I don't know The World Ends With You beyond what I know from Kingdom Hearts and directly adjacent stuff. Like there's an entire game. The plot of their game is the character of The World Ends With You. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, people. The whole plot of their game is that they have died and they need to play the Reaper's game, which is just like completing a certain amount of missions within a specific time period. And if they succeed in that, they get another chance at life.
Huh.
Such a more interesting story than what we're talking about right now. Right?
Yeah.
That might come into play in a future Kingdom Hearts game, though, is a theory people, including me, have. But the World Ends With You characters exist in the Kingdom Hearts universe, assumedly.
Because we got the IP, so why the fuck not?
Exactly. It's the exact same thing that Final Fantasy characters exist in this universe, right? We had Cloud and Leon and Sephiroth and all those fuckers. Now they're just doing it with more Square Enix properties, just all cramming them into Kingdom Hearts because that's the best-selling thing they have.
Fuck no.
So, he notes that Sora doesn't have a timer on his hand. That's the timer from the Reaper's game. And he says, well, that probably means that you're not a player in this game, so what the fuck are you doing here? Sora says, I'm just looking for my friend. And Neku's like, I'm also looking for my friend, because this game is played in pairs, and usually you have a game partner, and I don't know where the fuck my game partner is, so that's kind of a problem.
Also, and nobody thought about pulling off that glove. The timer is on his hand. Sora is wearing a glove.
That's actually a really good point. I'm thinking, are there other characters with gloves where the timer is, like, on their glove? I don't know that, but that's a really fucking good point that you might be literally the first person in the universe to come up with this thought, because I've never even entertained that idea.
For real?
It's just kind of something you assume. Like, I don't even think of Sora as having gloves. He just has hands with like leather on them, as far as I'm concerned.
He just evolved to have integrated gloves.
Yeah, specifically in this game, because you can definitely see that it's like a very blurry mixed texture. Like, it's not even a model on his hand. It's just his hand is the glove.
And he has some sort of wristband or something.
Yeah. So he very well could have a timer under that glove. Who fucking knows? Maybe he is part of the game. But anyway, Sora, being a nice guy, says, I'll help you find your friend, I'll find my friend eventually. I'm the main character, so I'm supposed to be helping people, right?
Yeah, sure, and just help people, and then your thing will get to you.
That's how video games work. And Neku responds to this with, you don't even know me. Why the fuck would you help me? Why do you even trust me, dude? You are absolutely insane.
I don't even trust me. What the fuck?
That's kind of the vibe we're going for here. So as they go out to look for both Riku and Neku's game partner, which I think is... Oh, here. That's what he says. What? Timeout? Do you trust every total stranger you meet?
Yeah, that's kind of his thing.
That's kind of what Sora does, right? Sora even says, yeah, but we're friends now. And Neku's like, are we though?
Have we eaten ice cream yet?
Not yet. There's no ice cream in this game, I don't think.
Ah, dang.
It's not a real Kingdom Hearts game. So they go out looking for their friends, and they run into Dream Eaters, because we need Heartless that aren't Heartless.
Why? We had a thing going on, and then in the last game they were like nah, that thing we'll give it another name, and then why build lore if you ain't gonna do anything with it?
There is a lore reason for why there's no Heartless in this game, if you want to know.
Ah, fucking course there is.
Because, let's see, do we have a screenshot of that? Well, we can just stick on this one for a moment. Every design of Dream Eater has two different forms. We have the Spirit form or the Dream Eater form. I don't know which it's called. But anyway, on the right-hand side, which is the good version. Mm-hmm. So these are helpful. These will help you throughout the game. And this is actually your party members, because Donald and Goofy aren't in this game. So your party members are filled up with Dream Eaters, and you can swap them out, and that's how you unlock abilities, and it's kind of a fun mechanic. On the left-hand side, we have the Nightmares, which are corrupted Dream Eaters. And those are the enemies you fight. So every single Dream Eater you fight in the game, you can also, aside from bosses, obviously, get the good version of as a party member.
So you beat the bad version, or just unlocking by doing stuff?
When you beat the bad version, they drop items, and you can use those items in combinations to craft the good version.
Alright.
That's a mechanical explanation. That's still not a lore explanation, I am aware.
Nope.
That's where we get to flashback time, because Yensid explains that in order to beat Xehanort, it's good to have more Keyblade Masters, but we really also just need more people. So we need Terra, Ventus, and Aqua back, returning from where they were lost in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. And somehow, waking up 7 sleeping worlds will help Sora and Riku achieve a power that will help them reach those lost hearts and restore them back to life. Wake Ventus up, get Aqua from the Realm of Darkness, and fuck knows what about Terra. These 7 worlds that they need to wake up are worlds that fell into darkness during the events of Kingdom Hearts 1, but somehow they were never fully restored to being back in the Realm of Light. Instead, they exist inside of a sort of limbo state, outside of either light or darkness. And that is the realm of sleep, where not even Heartless can get to. Because there's no darkness, there's no light, there's just sleep.
So you could say they need to be awakened from sleep, or, reborn by, birth by sleep?
This is exactly what I meant last time, is that this game should have been called Birth by Sleep.
Yeah.
But then they couldn't have called it 3D, so...
Just put 3D before or after, or behind, whatever.
Kingdom Hearts 3B, Birth by Sleep, Birth by Beep. I don't know, but...
Just do whatever all the other 3DS games did, just do title 3D.
Yeah, exactly. Nintendox 3D, Cats 3D, whatever other pet simulators there were on the 3DS, 3D. It's, can you tell that the whole 3D thing with the 3DS annoys me to no end?
It also just never really worked or added anything.
It was fun for like the first 5 minutes of owning a 3DS, but after that nobody actually used it, and as the life cycle of the console went on, more and more games just didn't even let you put things in 3D. They just straight up disabled the selling point of the console.
And then Nintendo was like, let's do a 2DS.
Yeah, because nobody actually cared about the 3D, and they had sold all the 3D they need. Anyway, Kingdom Hearts, Realm of Sleep. So that's where they are. They are in the Realm of Sleep. Finding the sleeping keyholes and unlocking those will wake up those worlds, and that will teach Sora and Riku how to wake up sleeping hearts. And that is what they need to unlock Ventus's heart, and apparently also Aqua. Don't ask.
Aqua is in hell.
Aqua's in hell, but apparently waking up people and getting them back from hell is the same in this case. I don't know.
All right.
That's what we're going with, apparently.
Well,
And Terra...
If I want to see my grandma again, just wake her up.
Yeah, exactly. Back in the plot, Neku and Sora make it to someplace in Traverse Town, where, and you've been waiting for this for the past, how long has it been? For the past 25 minutes, a rope dude shows up!
Yay!
He jumps Sora, and Neku's like, hey, wait a second, this wasn't our deal. You said you wouldn't hurt Sora. And Sora's like, what the fuck are you? I feel real sleepy right about now. And Sora falls asleep. Suddenly, Riku wakes up in Traverse Town, in the exact place where Sora fell asleep.
What?
Yeah, in this game, you bounce back and forth between playing as Sora and playing as Riku. And the reason that I'm not splitting them up into two parts like last time is because last time, at the start of the game, you choose, I want to play as this character, and then you play through the whole campaign, and then you play through another campaign, and the third campaign, and they're really separate things. In this game, you go back and forth between the two of them. In a gameplay mechanic that is generally absolutely hated, because you have the drop gauge, as it's called. And that is just a kind of like a HP bar, MP bar, whatever you want to call it, that continuously ticks down while you play. And when it hits 0, your character just drops out and you switch to the other character. Back and forth throughout the entirety of the game. This includes in the middle of a boss fight.
Oh, that's annoying.
So,
also, we need to take a small little break because there's a giant ass butterfly in my room. And I need to let it out.
Good luck with that.
So, cut it here. And we're back.
And so is Riku. For this first world, we're going to jump back and forth between Riku and Sora, because it makes most sense here, and also that's the way the cutscene compilation I watched did it. But for every other world, we're going to go first through Sora's experience of it, and then through Riku's experience of it, which is not entirely authentic, because in reality, you would be playing them pretty much side by side in about 10-minute increments or so. But that would be even more chaotic than this is being right now, so we're going to split it up in that way.
But your gameplay experience in that sense depends on... I mean, is it just time-based or also progression-based?
It's a little of both. It's a time gauge that constantly drops down, so that is time-based, but you unlock worlds in batches of 3, and both characters need to complete all those 3 worlds before you can move on to the next batch of 3. So it's not like you can play the entire game as Riku and then play the entire game as Sora. Like there are certain cutoff points where both characters need to reach a certain point before either character can move on. As well as every time that you drop, there's this currency that you collect. I think they're called like dream drops. Yeah, it's that bad. Every time that you switch between the characters, all the dream drops that you've collected in that little play session, you can use for little bonuses and boosts for the other character for that play session. So you can say, I've collected 50 dream drops and I can get a level 2 power up, which means that Sora will do more damage until you drop back and play as Riku again, at which point you can give him a little boost. And one of the boosts that you can give them is just existing for a longer time.
Yeah, so there's a way to
you can extend it.
That. Yeah.
And there's also an item that will just restore your drop gauge just like a potion would for your HP. So you can very much just stock up on that item and keep playing as long as you want with one character up until a certain point, anyway.
And you can just wait around somewhere till the timer runs out and then continue as the other.
You can, I think it's only at save points, but you can manually also drop, which is what the switching is called, it's dropping, at any time. So even if you literally just switch to Riku and you're like, no, I would rather keep playing as Sora, I think it's only at save points, but you can just move to a save point and say, nope, I'm playing as Sora, and just skip the whole Riku thing until you feel like playing as Riku or the other way around.
All right.
The downside to that is, if you do that, you're not going to get those bonuses that you get from collecting the dream drops in that cycle. So,
right, yeah.
The game heavily incentivizes you to not do that.
Yeah, this is like 2012 or something, right?
I think it's 2012, maybe 2013.
I fully when you name a game mechanic dropping in 2012, I fully expect a Skrillex dubstep drop every time you do that. But
No, Skrillex is the next game.
alrighty.
It's not actually the next game, because the next game is a tech demo for Kingdom Hearts 3. But Kingdom Hearts 3's theme song is a cooperation between the usual artist that does the Kingdom Hearts intros and Skrillex for some reason. It's
Well, it was that time,
well, by the time of Kingdom Hearts 3, it wasn't that time anymore, because that was like 2018.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ew.
There's quite a long time also between this and
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3, in which all the HD remasters and such have been released. So,
Right.
let's move on with the Riku story before
Yeah.
we spend an hour on all the Skrillex stuff. So, Riku wakes up and also runs into an anime boy. This is Joshua, also from The World Ends With You. And Joshua says that he needs to find a portal. And Riku's like, good luck with that. I'm not helping you, because I'm on my own mission. He's
Wait, hold up. I mean, it's 2012. We have progression and all that stuff. Is this an actual anime boy? Is this someone who identifies as an anime boy, or
no. This is just a very Japanese anime boy.
right? Okay.
I don't think we have any characters that would qualify as well. The fandom really would like to think that Sora and Riku are very gay for each other. But other than that, like, this canonically, I don't think there's any queer people in Kingdom Hearts so far.
A sort of female character now residing inside a male character.
Yeah, we have Shion, which is technically a clone of a dude and is a girl.
But then also she's like whatever you imagine her to be, and
Yeah, sometimes she does look like a dude, and like, we're getting real off topic here, but the whole trope of like a clone not being the same gender as the person that it's cloned from is like not necessarily very transgender, because that also happens in Logan
sure.
and in Star Wars and whatever. So that's like still different from transgender, I would say. But hey, I'm by no, don't cancel me. I'm by no means qualified to talk about that.
This is just a fabulous boy.
Yeah, this is just a fabulous Japanese anime boy with very soft facial feature.
All right.
Also, he's omniscient. He's kind of a god.
Already then.
So that might have been an interesting thing to drop as well. He's looking for some person who he can use to create a portal to the other Traverse Town, because there's 2 copies of this world, one of which Sora's in, the other which Riku is in. And
So we're not time traveling yet. We're just parallel universing,
for now, that's the assumption, yes.
which is also kind of time travel, but whatever.
There's no Kingdom Hearts multiverse yet. Well, we'll get to time travel at the end of this game. Riku hears that, hey, Sora's in another version of this world and we need this portal. What did you say about a portal? I think I'm going to help you after all, because now there's something in it for me. Which, fair.
It's my boyfriend.
Yeah, again, they're kind of gay. It's the game really wants you to think that Sora has a thing for Kairi, but very gay. Riku's like, okay, let's go find him, but I need to do a tutorial first, because we've had a tutorial as Sora, and now we need a tutorial as Riku. And after Riku does his tutorial thing, he falls asleep. And we get a flashback again, apparently. Yeah. We hear about the story of the Keyblade War again, but we get a little bit more extra detail. Because now we are familiar with the Keyblade War story.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I think. I don't think I need to reiterate that. This game tells that story like 3 times.
Ah, fuck.
My notes say Xehanort explains. Xehanort is not in this scene. It's Yen Sid, which is almost as evil.
Yeah.
He explains that the Keyblade, when it was destroyed at the end of the Keyblade War, it was made up of 2 pieces that we know, right? One of light and one of pure darkness. But it was shattered into 20 smaller pieces. 7 pieces of light and 13 pieces of darkness.
So they're like Horcrux?
Oh my god, you have no idea how close you are with that. Now it's just like, it was a whole Kikai X-Blade, and then it was 20 little pieces. It just broke. And it just broke along the lines of, okay, so we've got these 2 pieces, light and dark, and those 2 pieces broke into individual pieces as well, because plot needs to happen.
Someone was just very clumsy.
Yeah, so we have 7 pure light pieces, 13 pure darkness pieces. If you would bring that all back together, that then creates the Keyblade. Don't mind the fact that the Keyblade was created in Birth by Sleep with just 1 of each. Just ignore that.
We need some MacGuffins to collect.
You could say that it was very unstable in Birth by Sleep because it was destroyed very easily. So,
Yeah, true.
something like that. That's me doing the heavy lifting for bad writing. Anyway, Sora wakes back up and finds Rhyme, the girl that Riku and Joshua are looking for because she has the power to create portals between these two Traverse Towns. Sora, of course, has no idea that this is an important person.
Right, because they don't have, like, parallel cell phones.
Yeah, so they can't communicate at all for the most part, so Sora's just going on an adventure, no idea that other people are looking for this girl. They also find Neku, and there's a rope dude again. And Neku's like, I betrayed you, why are you still being friendly to me? And Sora's, that's because you're my friend, and you probably had a good reason to betray me, so I forgive you. And then the rope dude shows up, and Neku's like, I'm gonna regain my honor, I'm gonna pull a Zuko, and he just gets slapped aside and we never see him again. That's not true, we do see him again, but I like to think that he just dies there. At which point, we fight a boss fight, because he just summons a nightmare, and that's our boss fight here, for reasons.
We haven't had a boss fight in a while, so let's go.
Exactly. We need to finish up this first world so that we can actually get into like the structure of the game proper. And we'll blast through it a lot quicker than this first world, because that's a lot of Disney bullshit that I don't care about. After you beat that boss fight, we see a projection of Riku with his new friend.
Right.
And we also see a projection of the hooded figure taken out of his hood, and it has been revealed to be young Xehanort.
Yeah.
The one from the secret ending we talked about last time.
Right.
Time travel. We're not going to talk about it yet, but we will.
How the Force ghosts?
That's because they are in the parallel Twilight Towns, and for some reason we can see projections of them now that we've defeated the boss temporarily. So Sora defeats the boss and it rains weird particles down, and now we see projections of what's happening in the parallel Twilight Town. So young Xehanort is in Riku's version of Twilight. Traverse Town. Sorry, I keep saying Twilight Town.
All right.
And that's just there for cinematic reasons. If I'm being honest, like don't look too much into that from a lore perspective.
Right. Does he see them, or is it just for us? Like, ta-da! It was him.
Sora sees them. They don't see Sora.
All right.
Not until Riku also beats his version of the boss fight. At which point we'll get to that in a moment. Which is apparently now. Because Riku also fights his boss fight, and we do some anime bullshit, and then we close the keyhole in Traverse Town, meaning that we are finally done with this clusterfuck of a world, and we can just now talk about these guys one world at a time.
Yay.
Finally. So, it's Disney time, and we're going to France, to the Notre Dame.
Alright. How the hell are they gonna handle this shit?
Not too much. Quasimodo is celebrating with all the Dream Eaters because he's a fucking idiot. And the whole thing about this world is Quasimodo is not allowed outside of the cathedral. We know the Disney movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, but like that's the whole thing. He's locked in there, and Sora's like, these walls might be holding him back, but what's really holding him back is himself making his heart into a prison. He's not allowing himself to escape, which is real fucking victim blaming on Sora's part.
Yeah.
So Sora,
he basically just says, you're not trapped in here. You just have Stockholm syndrome.
pretty much. He says maybe Frollo tells you that you can't go outside, but the reason you're not going outside is because you're not going outside. Which, on the one hand side, is fair, but also kind of like a very dickish thing to say.
Yeah.
As Kingdom Hearts characters tend to do, Sora kind of just enforces the plot of the movie, helping Quasimodo and the guard dude, which I don't think I've ever taken a screenshot of, help find Esmeralda, and that then leads Frollo to also following them, and again, it's the plot of the movie, I'm pretty sure.
That I was hoping Sora would help them set the church on fire. But
He kind of, indirectly, he does.
yay.
So the whole movie just happens with Sora just kind of running around in it. Esmeralda gets captured, and then the church gets set on fire and you fight a boss fight in Paris while it's burning down. Which at the time that this game was released was cool. Looking back at it now, where recently this same fucking church also almost got burned down. It's kind of painful.
Yeah.
And that's how quickly we go through some of these Disney worlds, by the way. Because that's the entirety of like the Disney shit in this world.
Good.
Young Xehanort shows up because Sora's like, I'm glad I could help Quasimodo escape the prison that he made in his own heart. And young Xehanort is like, you're being a bit of a hypocrite, you know? Because if anybody's heart is a prison, it's yours.
Well, you know, to be fair, yeah.
And then we get this shot of him saying, even if you yourself are not a prisoner. So that is reason to assume that Vanitas also is just hanging out in Sora's heart.
Okay. That has some implications.
Yeah. Implication number one is inconsistent writing, because it was very clearly stated in Birth by Sleep that Vanitas would have been destroyed. But apparently, he just went with Ventus into Sora.
I mean, there's...
Nobody dies in Kingdom Hearts. It's just Marvel.
Nobody dies, just everybody, you know, settles down inside Sora's heart.
Exactly. Sora's heart is just a retirement plan for villains.
And, yeah.
And good guys. And
there's no heaven, there's just Sora's heart.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, there is Kingdom Hearts, which is kind of Keyblade heaven.
Yeah, I guess.
And that's everything we get about this in this whole game. It's just a whole hint of, like, Vanitas is still relevant. And you say that has implications? Yes, it does. Again, Vanitas is an interesting character that we'll get to after Kingdom Hearts 3.
God damn it.
Oh, you're going to love the mobile game. Riku's whole story is just the story of the game. Of the movie, rather. Oh. And I must say, while I was watching through this, I had entirely forgotten the plot to the movie. So when Esmeralda and this guard dude ended up being like the endgame couple, that kind of shocked me, because I just kind of assumed that she would get together with Quasimodo.
No. Only pretty people can be happy. That's the whole conclusion of this film. Only pretty people can be happy together.
Yeah, apparently. It really threw me off, because I'm like, okay, he clearly has a thing for her, and they've been like developing, and like this blonde dude just shows up and goes off to fuck her.
I mean, the whole
it's a really messed up movie.
The whole lesson learned in this in the Notre Dame thingy is like, you know, you can be happy when you're not pretty, but you can't be with the pretty girl. No.
I was honestly kind of shocked. Again, I've seen this movie once, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I've probably seen it like twice, 15 years ago.
I had entirely forgotten about this, and maybe it's like 2023 versus like 1980 or something. I don't know when this movie was made. Pretty long time ago.
And the late 90s?
Late 90s, okay, so like 1998 or 99, something like that.
Yeah.
Let's say there's about 20 years of like societal progression here, at least. 25 years maybe, which might be painting this even worse than it already was at the time. But this is a real bad message.
Let me see. 96.
96. Oh, so it's 20... How old am I? That's my birth year, 96. So it's 27, 28, 27. Yeah. 27, I think. I'm very bad at my own age, can you tell? That aside, though, that all happens, and Sora leaves this world, and now we move on to Riku, which again does the plot of the movie from a different perspective. And his whole thing is he runs into the guard. That dude, don't know his name because I don't care. He should fuck off, and Esmeralda and Quasimodo should be a thing.
Wouldn't that be, you know, a way more fun way to use these Disney worlds? Just have the Kingdom Hearts characters fuck around in the Disney worlds, change some things, and then, you know, retroactively have it be a better, more progressive like plot.
Specifically with these older titles, like The Hunchback of Notre Dame or that kind of stuff, where some things are kind of messed up in modern sensibilities, a more what-if approach, I would appreciate, but I don't think Disney would ever allow that, because that would be admitting that they did something wrong, and they don't do that. They just quietly remove racist stuff from Disney+. That's what they do.
Yeah, just proto some shit out and...
So they would never do that, but I would much prefer that.
Just have either Riku or Sora just knock the guard dude of the tower, and then the hunchback and the lady come together.
Yeah, that would be so much better.
Yeah.
Instead, what we have is Riku runs into the guard, and he's like, I'm going to check on a house on the outskirts of town, because that's where Mr. Judge Frollo is going. And Riku's like, I'll come with you. And then they find Frollo there, and it turns out Frollo is evil and going to destroy Paris. And then Riku goes back to the place he started this world at to fight a boss fight.
And then why did he go to the other place?
Just to see that Frollo is evil, which we, as the players, already knew. So this is really frustrating.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have the whole thing about him meeting Quasimodo as well. And he kind of does the same thing as Sora, but I have a bit of a less of a hate boner for Riku. Because Riku tells him that he should stand up for himself. Not that he's like, it's his own fault, but just, you should stand up for yourself. And maybe Frollo is telling you never to leave, but you can't hide yourself and let your heart be closed. You need to open your heart to the rest of the world. Which is a much more productive way of saying the same thing that Sora said.
Yeah. As long as you don't say, you need to stand up straight for yourself. That's
not going to happen.
A bit mean.
But as Riku leaves to go on his pointless side quest there, he thinks to himself, that was really good advice. I should really follow my own fucking advice for once, because I definitely don't do that.
There are more people who should do that.
Yeah. So then we do the whole side quest thing, which doesn't matter, and Riku runs into somebody. Well, not a somebody, a Heartless.
Should I recognize this person?
That is Ansem, the antagonist from Kingdom Hearts 1.
Oh.
And Chain of Memories, which we killed. We killed him twice now.
Uh-huh.
And here he is, fucking again.
With elf ear.
That's just a weird anime hair.
Yeah.
Also, young Xehanort, he doesn't really do anything other than just exist in the background of a lot of scenes. But Ansem tells Riku that Riku really needs to start embracing the darkness, or otherwise, sooner or later, it'll cost him. The same way Ansem always tries to spout darkness shit at Riku.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we fade to a very unrelated scene of, oh, there is ice cream in this game!
Scream!
Between Axel and Roxas, where Roxas asks if Axel has forgotten their promise. And Axel's like, what fucking promise? So, yes. Axel's made a promise that he would always be there for his friends to bring them back. Uh-huh. And then everybody wakes up in Radiant Garden. All the people who were in the organization before, that were originally from Radiant Garden, have been recompleted as human beings at the place where they initially split into Heartless and Noble. Including Axel is alive again.
Yeah.
Except it's Lee, but I'm going to use the names interchangeably because I can't ever make up my mind. Neither can the game.
Also still weird spelling, but
still very weird spelling. The game itself makes a point out of it. Every time, like, our main characters know him as Axel, so every time he shows up, they're like, "Hey, Axel, you're here." And he's like, "My name is Lee, not Axel, for fuck's sake." And by the end of the game, he's like, fine, just call me Axel. It's okay. He wakes up and he looks into a window and his reflection, and he's like, I don't have those markings under my eyes anymore. Ergo, I'm a person again. Because apparently those were nobody-related things. They weren't, but sure.
It's an easy visual distinction. It's fine.
It's an easy way to see whether or not he's a nobody. The same thing happens with a couple of different characters which have like specific markings on their face gone when they wake back up as humans, like a lot of scars and stuff like that. So it's a visual distinction, but they actually make a point out of it here, which is a little in your face. Literally, because it was on his face.
Yeah.
Next up, we're going into VR.
Ooh.
Because,
well, AR, if you can look through it.
No, he's in Tron at this point.
I guess that's VR.
So that's kind of like ultimate VR, because you physically are inside a computer.
True.
And this is not an important world, other than one very important thing that I desperately need to share with you. Low poly Jeff Bridges. I fucking hate this model with a burning passion.
if it actually was on the 3DS and it would look like this, then sure.
Well, these are the models they use for the 3DS. It's just rendered at a higher resolution. But
Okay,
for the most part, the textures and like the poly counts for the models are just the 3DS one.
Right. Well, then it's fine.
I mean, it looks pretty good for the 3DS, but if you like blow this up on a 30-inch screen, it's in 1080p. It's kind of uncanny. But honestly, for the 3DS, this game looks really good for the 3DS.
But hey, they managed to do this in a cave with a bunch of scraps. So,
Exactly. Oh my god.
I
Specifically, this model bothers me so much.
Also, the other model next to it, I can't remember her name.
Yeah, but she's like an AI.
The actress. Yeah, but still played by an actual actress with that face. But no, not that face, but, a face.
A face that's less flat and has more motion to it.
Yeah.
For her character, I don't mind as much. Also, I don't know that actress, which also kind of helps with... It's just like a weird Kingdom Hearts model. The dad here, I don't know the character's name anymore, is... he's one of those actors which I can never see as their character.
Oh, yeah.
And that makes this a million times worse. Like the same way I never can see Johnny Depp as anything other than Johnny Depp.
Well, Jack Sparrow, sure. For me, he's just some other variation of Jack Sparrow. But
yeah, most of his roles
that's
really
kind of his typecasting, yeah.
And I kind of have the same with this dude. And there's a few actors which I can't deal with. And if you see them at like PlayStation 2 quality, which is kind of like, this is a little under PlayStation 2 quality even, I'd say. It falls apart. Like Jack Sparrow in Kingdom Hearts 2 was good enough for me. This is not.
Yeah, no.
But let's see what happens in the plot of this world as far as Kingdom Hearts is related. Because I don't know if you've seen Tron Legacy. I have not seen this movie.
Yeah, I have.
Okay. I hear it's a very bad movie.
It is.
So I'm not going to see it. But somewhere along the lines, we run into young... also, Rinsler, Tron, whatever. We hit him until he turns into a good guy again. We run into young Xehanort, the important person here. And just as Ansem returned, here we have fucking Xemnas.
Sure, that's just reunite all the bad guys.
That's literally what this game is, yes.
Good.
And he talks about hearts and feelings and everything like that, as usual. And he asks Sora whether or not he is sure that his memories and his feelings are even his own. Much like the data being manipulated inside Tron, hearts can be tricky little buggers and be manipulated and changed.
Oh, they can be, in this case, they can be buggy little buggers.
Yeah, they can. Well, let's not go back to Kingdom Hearts Code. Young Xehanort jumps back in, calling Sora out for being a pretty dumb motherfucker. Because Sora thinks he's still in the realm of dreams, but think about this for a second. He's in a data world. Data doesn't dream.
Well...
We can get really philosophical about this, but let's just take Xehanort for his word. Data doesn't dream. Why hasn't Sora thought about this? And Sora's like, I mean, I don't know.
If ChatGPT can hallucinate, then why the fuck can it not dream?
Well, so anyway... young Xehanort's just telling Sora to, hey, maybe be a little bit less dumb, because like we've got a whole evil plan going on here, and you're not even picking up on it. So I'm gonna see you later the next time I'm coming to bother you, but you're actually being a bit of an idiot. You really do not function without Riku.
So he basically says, like, we have an whole evil plan, you're the main character, you're not doing anything about it, and that's the bad thing?
Yeah.
He's just like, well, if it's not a challenge, it's not fun. Give us a bit more of a fight. Come on.
Kind of. There is a reason that he is egging on Sora, which you want to say it. We'll get to why.
Yeah.
So Disney World's super fun. Let's talk about Kingdom Hearts some more. Back in Radiant Garden, all the characters that have woken back up are looking around the castle because everything is fucking broken since Kingdom Hearts 2, nobody's been here.
Mm-hmm.
And Lee, Axel, is looking for Braig and Isa, that is Zigbar and Saya, because they should have been there with them. They turned into nobodies in the exact same spots that everybody else did, but when they woke up, they were never seen by anybody. And Ienzo, which is the science dude, in the middle there. Like maybe the Heartless just haven't been destroyed, or maybe they didn't get recompleted for whatever reason. There's a million ways that this could make sense, so don't worry about it. And Lee turns into Riku apparently. Lee is like, yeah, I don't buy that. There's something going on here, and as usual, I guess I'll do it myself. And then he gets the Infinity Gauntlet. That
will be fun.
That last thing doesn't happen yet. I'm not saying that it will happen, but I'm thinking that it might.
I want to see Riku with the Infinity Gauntlet. He would be the if any of these characters can handle it.
You know what I would like in Kingdom Hearts 6 is the last world of that game. This is not going to happen, by the way. This is just my insane brain. The last game of that world being New York, and the game ends with "We have defeated Loki," and then the Infinity Gauntlet falls down, and Mickey picks it up and becomes evil. I would like that.
Yeah, Mickey turning evil, ain't gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen. If anything, they would introduce Oswald for that, which I also would very much like as a dark version of Mickey in Kingdom Hearts. But
Mickey's heartless, yes.
But that would involve Mickey dying, and Disney's not signing off on that.
I mean, as long as you can recombine him and he can come back, and just like these.
I mean, I would like it. It's not gonna happen, but I would like it.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway.
Back into VR, because that's where interesting shit happens, not. His angle in this whole world is more of the ethics of the science here, because we can see, that's literally the only screenshot I have of that world. Okay. We can see here that these AIs, I don't remember what they call them, but they're pretty much creating sentient life, right? Mm-hmm. And Riku's like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, because trying to create life, trying to create artificial hearts is kind of what led Xehanort into fucking everything up for us. So,
fair enough.
Might have started as mere curiosity, but at this point it's a catastrophe, and I'm kind of seeing the same thing starting here. So I'm just gonna pull out my pocket knife, and okay, that doesn't happen, but maybe it should have. And nothing else interesting happens in this angle of this world. This is such a useless world.
Are they?
Sokka? That's a different series. Sora goes to a theme park because in Kingdom Hearts 1 we had Monstro, right? We had the Pinocchio world, but we were all inside Monstro. In this game, we actually get to go to Prankster's Paradise.
Yeah.
Sora, anyway, where he meets Jiminy Cricket. And this is an important scene because you might think, hey, we know Jiminy. How the fuck did he get here? But this is not a Jiminy that we know. This is... Okay. Take a deep breath and prepare yourself. Because this is the Jiminy that was inside of this world when it fell to darkness. The actual Jiminy escaped that falling to darkness and ended up in Traverse Town. But the world doesn't know that. And we are reliving the last moments before the world falls to darkness on a loop.
Ground Day.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on here. But since the world doesn't know that Jiminy isn't supposed to be part of this picture anymore because he's actually out in the real world, there's just a copy of Jiminy that it creates to fill in that blank. The same with Pinocchio and Geppetto and Monstro. All of these characters who managed to get out just before they fell into darkness, the world just creates a dream version of them.
Sure, because that makes sense.
That's every other world we've been to so far presumably are the actual people in the actual world when it fell to darkness, just being stuck in a nightmare loop of constantly dying, which is horrible. But when characters are missing, the world just fill in the blanks, which is weird. So this whole world for Sora is just chasing Pinocchio around, and eventually we run into Xemnas and say, I forgot about this. So yeah, this whole world is just running after Pinocchio. Eventually you find him, and at that point, Xemnas and young Xehanort show up because Sora bullied young Xehanort.
And he sends his dad to go get him.
Exactly. Xemnas looks at Pinocchio though and says, how does a hollow puppet like him manage to grow a heart? Because we've been over this in Kingdom Hearts 1. Pinocchio, despite being a literal wooden puppet, has a heart.
I mean, he is a real boy, so yeah.
Well, he eventually becomes one, but even before he became a real boy, he had a heart. That was the whole thing why Riku was interested in Pinocchio in Kingdom Hearts 1, because he was trying to figure out how do people and things exist with or without hearts, because Kyrie lost a heart at that point, and he's like, that is a puppet. Why the fuck does that puppet have a heart, but my potential girlfriend does not?
Because magic.
And Xemna's kind of doing the same thing here. Like, that's an artificially made puppet with a heart. And Sora notes that Pinocchio isn't anything like you nobodies, but actually, if Pinocchio could grow a heart of his own, is there any reason that a nobody couldn't do that?
Fair enough.
Xemnas finds this particularly funny when Sora realizes this, and just fucking leaves. Young Xehanort does nothing in this scene whatsoever other than existing. He just shows up every time alongside Xemnas and Ansem when they are bothering our main characters and just stands there menacingly.
Just looking at him, being like, hee, my plan is going alright.
Yeah, except it's not his plan, it's old Xehanort's plan.
Same but different.
Let me ask you one thing. Is this game chaotic enough yet? Do you think we need another subplot?
No, but I guess you're gonna give it to me anyway.
We're gonna have another subplot.
Yeah, damn it.
Because back in Yensid's tower, Maleficent's Raven shows up with a ransom note and Minnie's crown. Minnie has been kidnapped. Mouse-napped.
No.
And, of course, that prompts Mickey to say, you know, if my wife dies, I'm gonna have to do, like, my job, so probably should go save her. And he goes off to Disney Castle. Yensid, though, thinks, this timing is a little too perfect. We are afraid Xehanort is coming back, and I've sent off the two main people that would defend against Maleficent, and that's exactly when she attacks. How could she have known? This is not good news. This is very suspicious.
Yeah, true.
So, that's the setup for this subplot. We'll get back to that.
Alright.
Because
looking forward to seeing Pete again.
Yeah. We're gonna see him for like a minute.
Yay.
Because now we get to experience Riku's take on Prankster's Paradise, which is actually inside Monstro. Unlike Sora, who got to go through the theme park, Riku just does the second half of the movie inside Monstro.
I mean, Riku gets to do all the dark, edgy shit, so makes sense.
Pretty much, yeah. And he goes to see Geppetto, and Geppetto's like, my fucking child was kidnapped by somebody in a black robe, go get him. And Riku thinks, black robe, that kind of sounds like my job, I'm gonna go get him. And Riku finds Pinocchio and the dude in the black robe. And you might think, oh, that's young Xehanort and Ansem is gonna show up, because that's just what this game does.
Right.
But I'm saying that, so that's not the case, is it?
Yes.
Because the person in the robe
What?
is Riku.
Fuck.
This Riku does not speak, he does not do shit, he just leaves through a dark portal. I'm gonna be real with you, I am not entirely sure which iteration of Riku this is supposed to be.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, we've had a few, so...
Based on Kingdom Hearts 3, I think it's the same one that we see in Kingdom Hearts 3, which we'll get to which one that is, because that's actually like a plot point in 3, so I'm not going to talk about which one it is.
Alright. Well, I guess we'll get there.
But it could very well just be a mirage image from the dream world, because Riku was evil in this world in the past. So it could just be that as well. I have no idea. So that's the first batch of worlds. Now we go back to Traverse Town, where actual plot shit happens. Kind of. A lot less than last time. Look. Because now that all the game duos have been reunited, like Naku found his partner and the people Riku ran into, which I entirely skipped over, found their partner, they figured out something really, really fucking weird. And that is that the rates of time of these timers, the timers are not synced up. People who were in the different versions of Traverse Town were experiencing time at different rates, which Riku responds to with, so what? That's how different worlds work. Different worlds have different flows of time. And
has anybody seen a black hole around here somewhere?
Exactly. And Joshua says that's exactly it. If this was the same world and just two different instances of that world, time would still flow the same. The fact that it has two different flows of time means that these two Traverse Towns that you separately exist in are two distinctly separate worlds on their own. Almost like they are the same world, imagined by two different people. Maybe almost like a dream. And that's everything relevant in Traverse Town Visit 2. This visit in gameplay time takes so much more fucking time than in the cutscenes. So, back at Disney Castle, we have Pete!
Yeah.
and Maleficent. And what do they want? Well, I'll tell you what they want, because it's pretty simple. They want to rule all the worlds. That's Maleficent's plan. They did that in Kingdom Hearts 1, and she failed. And she's like, maybe that was a little too ambitious. Maybe instead of ruling all the worlds in reality, I can rule them all in VR.
That's just ultimate escapism.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. She's settling, is what's happening here, really.
Yeah.
Because after Coded, she knows that Mickey has digital versions of all the worlds, which is categorically not true. Mickey has digital versions of the worlds of Kingdom Hearts 1, but let's just leave that aside for now.
Yeah, that's enough.
That's still like 7 or 8 worlds or something he has digital copies of, so Maleficent's like, cool, I can rule over those. That's fine. Totally fine.
I just want to rule some shit. Come on.
Exactly. My plans have been going really wrong so far, so I'll just start there, and maybe from there I can take over some real worlds eventually, but I need something, right? I still need a fucking home. I'm still homeless. And Mickey's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to give you that. I mean, yeah, you have my wife there. That's not cool. Fair. But I'm not going to give you those worlds. And Maleficent's like, okay, fine. I guess I'll just murder you and take it by force. At which point, her attack gets blocked by a weapon.
It's not Axel Lee.
Exactly. He shows up and says, hey, I'm here now. And Mickey scolds him because Lee is no longer a nobody. And using the power of darkness to travel between worlds as a person with a heart, it's a very, very irresponsible thing to do. But Axel Lee does not give a shit.
That's just rude. Just being like, I saved your ass, and Mickey
immediately getting scolded.
Yeah, sure, you saved me, but the way you did it wasn't right. Shut up.
Yeah, so Axel is on the good guy side now, which he kind of already was when he sacrificed himself, but we know now that he's back to life, and he's helping us out. Back to Sora, who is in the Disney version of the Three Musketeers, where literally nothing happens.
Yay.
Except one thing, which I just want to mention real quick, and that is, okay, I don't have a screenshot of it. I've never seen the Disney version of this movie.
Me neither.
First and foremost. Until this game, I didn't even know it existed. But the princess here is Minnie Mouse. And Mickey is not Prince Mickey here, because he's one of the Musketeers. This implies that Mickey marries into the royal family, which would make him not a king.
Depends on which monarchy system you use.
Most of the time, when the monarch is a woman and a man would marry into it, to be fair, most of the time when a man would marry into it, it would be like their second cousin who is also royalty, and not a random musketeer. But that person would generally become a prince, not the king, because a king is a higher title than a queen, which is, first and foremost, bullshit. Am I looking too deep into this? Yes.
Yes.
But I just thought that was funny, because Mickey is just like a dude here. It's made very clear, by the way, that this is, again, a dreamed up version of Mickey from the time period of when this world fell to darkness.
Mm-hmm.
But this Mickey already knows about the Keyblade. Like, he was in this world when it fell to darkness on a Keyblade mission, presumably. Because when Sora swings around his Keyblade, Mickey recognizes, and he's like, the fuck are you doing swinging that thing out so open and for everybody to see? Don't do that.
Put your pants back on. Nah, I mean...
Put your Keyblade away. So that's just a little nitpicky fan theory. Not even fan theory, just fan complaining. At the same time, back at Yensid's tower, because again, we're all over the place with this game, Lee says something to Yensid, and everybody's like, the fuck did you say? And
what he said?
Yeah, we will learn what he said, but we'll get to that.
Not now.
No, because this game is, like, I complain about this game being chaotic and all over the place. I really like this game, but it has no fucking direction whatsoever. It's a wild ride. And that's part of the reason I think that people really think that this game is where shit really, like, kind of goes downhill from a storytelling perspective. And to be fair, it's badly written, but I kind of like it. Anyway, Yensid, which I don't have a screenshot of, is starting to think that, Xehanort might be messing with the exam because things aren't going as well as he would have hoped. And somehow he can't keep track of Riku and Sora anymore, which is worrying. Anyway, we've had a version of Mickey from Musketeerland, and now we got a version of Mickey from Fantasia.
Oh, God.
This is the best world in the entire series.
Oh, I fucking believe so.
Without a doubt. Because
This movie is fucking insane.
it is. And this world really plays into that. Because it's called Symphony of Sorcery. And this world is filled with a lot of small musical quicktime events. It's almost like the game just takes a pause from being an action RPG and just turns into a rhythm game for an entire world. And I have a screenshot of it, actually. And I fucking love it.
Yeah.
There is also an actual rhythm game, Kingdom Hearts game, that came out after this a while later. And this is a lot more fun, I'll tell you. Anyway, Mickey seems to be in a sort of trance, which I don't have a screenshot of because it was not that relevant, apparently. And we need to go into the sheet music to help him snap out of it. And there we run into young Xehanort, who, again, is making fun of Sora for just diving deeper and deeper into the depths of sleep and just not catching on to the fact that something is terribly, terribly wrong. Does he really think that he's still on his test? Does he think that all this is part of the exam? And Sora's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe. Probably.
I'm just a dumb protagonist, motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm just going from world to world because that's what the game code tells me to do. Riku, in much the same way, in his own instance of the world, is helping out Mickey by finding some sheet music. And when he finds that, he gets to fight literal Satan.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, he's in this movie.
Chernobog, which he was also a boss fight in Kingdom Hearts 1, which I think I also called him just literal Satan because, let's be honest, he's just literally Satan.
Yeah.
And after that, or before that, around that same time, he also gets a chat with young Xehanort. And for once, young Xehanort, because he's talking to Riku and not Sora, actually gives some somewhat coherent explanations. Because we learn that the Keyblade was originally supposed to go to Riku, because he's the one that got the initiation ritual from Terra in Birth by Sleep. We've seen that.
Oh yeah, right.
But Sora got it because the moment Riku should have gotten it was at the start of Kingdom Hearts 1, but that's when he gave in to the darkness, and the Keyblade was like, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm gonna just stick with this other kid that's just, like, right next to you for now. But all that stuff in Kingdom Hearts 1 with him getting possessed and then getting sent to the realm of darkness, and then in Kingdom Hearts A Chain of Memories he had to learn to deal with being possessed by Ansem, that somehow has resulted in Riku locking the darkness, trapping it inside of his own heart, which makes him immune to darkness. And that kind of means that Riku is useless for what the organization wants to do, because if he's immune to darkness, they can't manipulate him, because they use dark.
So it's time. It's murder time.
That's kind of the vibe, yeah. But instead of Xehanort just murdering Riku, he just leaves because he knows that he's the final boss of the game. Technically speaking, he's not even the final boss, but
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. He's the final boss, and then we also have a boss in something that's more or less an epilogue, which is something entirely different. So, Yensid is thinking, even if Xehanort wanted to meddle with this exam, he just physically, literally could not, because he would have needed to be at the time and the place where the Destiny Islands fell to the darkness. Because that is the place that Yensid time-traveled Sora and Riku back to. But there's no way he could have done that, right? Even Xehanort can't just appear in the past with his whole body intact. Surely he couldn't have been there.
Well.
Except, the start of this game, we got reminded that Ansem was there. And Ansem is Xehanort. So, we're getting ready for the final stretch of the game now. Finally. Right. Where everything that's been set up and everything that I've said we'll get to that, we're actually slowly gonna get to that. Because Sora ends up in the world that never was, the organization's homeworld, and is utterly confused because he's opened 7 sleeping keyholes by now. Good that he's been keeping track because I sure as hell haven't. He should be back home. His test should be over, but he's still in his other clothes, he's still in his young body, and he's in a world that he shouldn't be in. So, what's going on here? Well, Zigbar shows up to antagonize Sora and explain everything to the... because we desperately need some explanation. He explains that this whole adventure has been not their exam, but has been the organization's plan. They hijacked, and I quote, Sora's little slumber party, and have been guiding him down their own path instead. And when Sora and Riku went back in time for their exam, they overlooked that in the past, Mr. Burlap Sack Dude was on the island. And as we just covered, that was Ansem, and as such, that was Xehanort. meaning that Xehanort was there during the events of Kingdom Hearts 1 to influence the events of this game because he knew they were going to time travel back to that time and place.
And this is where we're gonna get timey-wimey bullshit.
Exactly. So, the whole organization shows up, and you might note that there's not 13 of them at this point.
12.
Exactly. Which also is actually not correct with what we're going to talk about in a moment, but specifically, we're missing some organization member.
Because they're in Sora's heart?
Only if it were that easy. Because this is where young Xehanort finally gets to explain how timey-wimey stuff works in Kingdom Hearts.
Alright, here we go.
Strap in, you're not ready. Xehanort, when he was a young boy living on Destiny Islands, met Mr. Weird Brown Robe Dude. At that point, he didn't know that he was talking to himself from the future and some Secret of Darkness.
That would kind of be confusing, so yeah.
Why is this relevant, specifically? Well, time travel is only possible if you leave your physical body behind. You need to be a freed heart, so a heart without a body, not a heartless. Heartless can't time travel. But if you're just a heart separated from the body without turning into a heartless, that will allow you to freely move through time.
So, and then at that point, you're just a heart, like the equivalent of what we would call a soul.
Yeah, if your soul, your heart, gets ripped apart from your body, that then allows you to freely move through time. Because your body can't move through time, because it can only ever move forward in time, as per the laws of nature. Your heart is not bound by those physical limitations, so that one can just move back and forth throughout time. With the limitation of you can only move through time to periods where you exist. So you can't just go back to kill your grandfather.
So basically you send your heart into the past to occupy your past body for a bit.
That is the form it usually takes place, and that is what happened with Sora and Riku. They got sent back in time into their younger bodies. Xehanort just hangs out in that brown robe. He never re-entered his body. He just exists as a heart.
Yeah.
You can split hairs very badly about this whole system, but those are the basic rules we're going to stick by. Every other interpretation of it is kind of fluid. Next, young Xehanort takes Sora to Traverse Town, telling Sora that he's been here many times on his first adventure, in his adventure through Memory Time, in Chain of Memories, in the Datascape, and now through his dreams. So many times, it's like deja vu, which is, aside from this game getting timey-wimey and being very chaotic, it's now also self-aware.
Yeah.
Because that's an issue that a lot of people, especially at this point, had with Kingdom Hearts. We've talked about it a bunch. That especially like through the first 5 games, we replay the events of Kingdom Hearts 1 like 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
So this game just straight up admits that, yeah, we kind of did that. After both of those scenes, we see Sora falling asleep and waking back up, and then we see the next scene. And this time he falls asleep in Traverse Town, and he wakes up, and he's in his normal Kingdom Hearts 2 clothes again. In the world that never was, which is weird. Also, you might think he's back in the real world, but he definitely is not, because he runs into Namine, which doesn't exist in the real world.
Right. One of the heart occupants.
Well, she's the only heart occupant that's not in Sora's heart. She's in Kairi's heart.
Oh, yeah.
And here, it's, I really should have put in a GIF or a GIF, whatever you want, of this, because we have this shot that you see right here, and then the camera moves behind Sora's head, and then when it emerges on the other side, Sora sees Xion, and he's like, "The fuck are you?"
You aren't the girl and the mysterious girl I was trying to date, but sort of doesn't, but didn't, but what?
Sora's very confused, because aside from everybody that knew Xion having forgotten about her when she died, Sora never knew about her to begin with, because her entire existence, he was asleep.
Yes.
But still, when he sees Xion, he finds himself shedding a tear. No idea why, but it's like, I'm crying. I'm seeing this girl, I'm crying. What?
It's very confusing when there's all the other emotions from all the people that are inside your heart.
Yeah, and that goes even one layer deeper, right? Because this is Roxas crying through Sora.
Yes. Who also forgot that she existed.
Exactly. So he knows that he is sad seeing Shion, being reminded of something, but he doesn't remember why or who.
Because he doesn't know the person inside his heart who could remember her, but and also that person doesn't remember her because she sacrificed. God damn it.
Also, Shion is also inside Sora's heart. So Shion's also looking at herself through Sora's eyes. Which maybe it's Shion crying and not Roxas. Shion's just like, oh my god, my hair. What did I do with my hair? I'm a girl. I care about that. Am I trying to get cancelled? I don't know. Meanwhile, in the background of this scene, we can hear Riku's voice muffled and just like very quietly in the background, telling Sora to not go deeper, don't chase dreams, wake the fuck up. You're not doing the right thing, Sora. Just listen to me. But Sora barely hears it because he's very quiet, and Sora is focused on who the fuck is this girl, because Shion also just ran away.
Because that's what everybody does.
Yeah.
Around him.
He goes after Shion, and when he catches up, it's Roxas.
To make it even more confusing.
Exactly. We need all of the people that Sora has ties to just show up. So all the good guys are all coming back as well in this game. Not just the bad guys, we're also seeing all the good guys, which is neat. Roxas just looks at Sora and notes that, this whole situation, this could have been the other way around. I could have been the one living my life, and you could have been the one locked inside my heart instead. And Roxas says that he has accepted that while it feels that way, that it could have been the other way around, it really couldn't have been. It has to be Sora being the one out there fighting for the good of other people. Because Sora has connected himself with so many other hearts, and Roxas says, well, I am you. So if I know this, surely you know it too. To which Sora...
This is Sora, so, ignorance is kind of his thing.
Yeah, Sora is dumb enough to not. But Sora's actually quite nice about this and says, no, Roxas, you're not me, you're you. You're your own person. You might be living inside my heart, but you're not just a copy of me. You're your own goddamn person. To which Roxas says, no, see, that sentiment is exactly why it has to be you. Because you believe in everybody around you. And
you're naive enough.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Sora, or Roxas, makes this scene very gay, and grabs Sora's hands, and Sora, within like a second, gets lore dumped on the entirety of everything that happened in Kingdom Hearts days. Remember that podcast that took us like 2 hours to record?
Uh-huh.
All that emotional trauma, from a first-person perspective, is getting dumped into Sora's brain in a second.
Ouch.
And Sora has a legitimate mental breakdown over this.
Well, finding out that there's 2.5 more people living inside of you.
And immediately
locked away because they're clones of you, but also not. And
feeling all of the grief and trauma of everything they went through in that game, because they had a pretty shit time of it during that year.
Yeah.
All those emotions from Roxas and presumably also Shion, even though he still doesn't know that Shion existed. He probably also feels what she felt at that point. He unlocks all those memories and all those feelings all at the same time. So Sora's like, okay, what the actual fuck? That's that.
I'm great. I'm great for some ice cream now for some reason.
Yeah, I really want to have ice cream with Kairi. Or actually, maybe I'll get ice cream with Riku.
Or with Lee.
Ooh, that's, people who've not seen our Days video are going to be so fucking confused. Sora keeps going back and forth between this outfit and then his Dream Drop Distance outfit again. And that's probably to reiterate the fact that this is weird, because we're about to get the explanation as to why this outfit is a thing, finally. Because...
It wasn't just to look fabulous.
Also that. From a production standpoint, this outfit is there to sell more toys.
Yeah, makes sense.
From a in-universe perspective, there is actually a reason. So he keeps chasing all the visions he sees. He sees Kairi and Riku in the distance walking away from him. But when he reaches them, they shift into being Terra and Aqua, calling him Ven. Then getting a shot of Sora again. Nope, we see Ventus, because he also is inside Sora's heart.
Which is confusing as fuck, because we just had Roxas.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's just the clothes that are different. I swear to God, if they ever give these people new clothes, people's brains are gonna melt.
I mean, mine is already doing that, but
Yeah. And just as that happens, Sora is in slow-mo with like smear frames and everything, running towards a big bright light. And when he reaches that, he falls back down to the ground in a meteor impact for some reason. And Zigbar is there waiting for him, saying that, oh, that was almost real bad. It wasn't easy putting you into a second sleep, and god damn it, you almost woke up.
are we going Inception now?
Yep.
Fuck.
That's exactly what's happening here. Sora is in a sleep inside of a sleep. He's in a dream of a dream.
I mean, we're getting timey-wimey. We can also just go Inception, sure. Why the fuck not?
Yeah, that's it's both. They're just doing both in the same game. It gets worse. We'll get to it. We only have I was going to say a handful of points left. It's not true, but at this point I'm much more detailed with every point because it's very important that I get everything that I've written down here right and not just off the top of my head.
All right.
Zigbar tells Sora that, you know, if you're confused about all this, just like everybody playing this game, maybe ask your heart if it's got a clue. That's what you like to do, right? And Sora has the revelation that, wait a second, all of you fucking people, well, not people, nobodies, have hearts, don't you? You have hearts. I just felt what Roxas felt. You can't feel that if you don't have a heart. And Zigbar goes, bingo, it's about fucking time you know this. Yeah, we all have hearts. Nobody's aren't devoid of hearts. Kinda. Because at this point Xemnas shows up to give the exposition on how hearts work and how nobodies work. Because while a nobody is created when the heart is taken away from a body cannot deal with not having a heart. So it will replace it the first chance it gets. And for a lot of nobodies, which is just like the squiggly dudes that we see as basic enemies throughout Kingdom Hearts 2, they just go looking for a heart to steal. Just getting a different heart to put inside them. The organization members are different because they look like humans, and that is at least partly because they managed to regrow a heart from nothing.
Damn.
So they're not full people still quite, because they still got split up in between being a heartless and a nobody, but they aren't the empty husks that we've been told up until this point. They, due to the lack of a heart, just grow a heart from having experiences, because your emotions and your experiences and stuff like that build you as a person. That's just like, even without Kingdom Hearts logic, that's just like how personalities work.
Yeah.
And through the experience of just existing and doing things and meeting people, the body will just start to build up a new heart. And that is the reason, like 5 years after the fact, that they give for why nobodies can kind of show emotions sometimes, because fuck it, apparently they do have hearts. I don't like it either.
Yeah. I'm just giving up at this point.
Yeah.
If you, I mean, I appreciate the fact that they're trying to write themselves out of this shithole, but
it's this whole stretch of like this game and Kingdom Hearts 3 is definitely them trying to course correct and wrap up all the bullshit that they didn't plan out beforehand. And this game specifically, Kingdom Hearts 3 to a certain extent as well, this game specifically really is really bad with that. Just like, we've established nobodies don't have hearts, that's what makes them different, that's what makes them them. But then we made an entire game within nobody as a main character, and we like needed to give him characterization, and we really tried very hard in that game to answer the question, how does Roxas display personality if he doesn't have a heart? And to be fair, in that game it's implied numerous times that maybe there is something there. It's just never stated, and this game comes out to say, yeah, no, these people all have hearts. That's not a problem.
they could have also just I don't know, to make it something else. Just this is just like, you know, the thing that we established, that nobodies, they don't have a heart, and that's how shit works. And now they're just like, well, that's a bit inconvenient, so they just either take one or grow a new one. It's fine.
Yeah.
They could have also just, you know,
well, they tried that in Kingdom Hearts Days initially, where they say when we display emotions, it's not really us feeling the emotions, it's us having the memories of what emotions feel like.
Well, they could have also just had taken just taken another generic term, just call it a I might not have a heart, but we still have a soul or something or other.
That would have probably complicated things even more, but there's
Yeah.
numerous ways of fixing this without doing exactly what they did here. I personally have less of an issue with it because throughout Kingdom Hearts days, the whole thing is we don't have hearts, and when we think we feel emotion, it's just a memory of emotion that we had when we were human. But Roxas has no memory of him as a human and still displays emotion, and that throws into question the whole like, okay, but maybe everything we've been told, everything we assume about hearts and memories and emotions in nobodies might not be entirely accurate as it is. But that was just an implication and not really very front and center in that game. So I disagree with
also,
a lot of people saying that this is a full-on retcon and that it's bad writing. I do think that this was intended from, maybe not from the start from Kingdom Hearts 2, but at least from Kingdom Hearts Days, which was immediately after 2. I do think that this was what they were working towards.
Well, but with the only problem with the explanation of it being memories of the emotions was Roxas. Well,
Yeah.
Roxas is based on Sora, so you could just say, well, we've had this before. Just he's based on the main character, so it's an exception. Maybe it's the memories of Sora's emotions.
Yeah, but the thing is, all of the other organization members, like Axel remembers what it's like before he got turned into an nobody. He just has all those memories.
Right.
So that's why he thinks, okay, when I think I feel sad, I just remember what it felt like when I used to be sad. But the whole thing about Roxas is he is special because he's the main character's nobody. And because Sora got turned back into a person so quickly, those memories never made it into Roxas, his body. So Roxas doesn't have the memories of what it's like to be Sora. So they already kind of do the he is different angle. But that is exactly the thing that throws into question the assumptions that everybody has about nobodies. Is, okay, we all assume that that's how it works, but then this new character shows up, he is different because he's the main character, and that kind of throws into question whether or not everything that we've believed so far actually holds true. It's just that's not even really a plot thread as much in that game as it is something that is brought up a couple of times and never resolved. I would argue that this is just where it gets resolved, and it's not given enough attention for most people to connect those dots. Specifically because I only noticed that rewatching the Kingdom Hearts Days cutscenes after having seen this game, and then it all makes sense. Then it really does feel like it's very connected, and that's the one thing that Kingdom Hearts does very well. So maybe I'm just entirely wrong about them having this as a plan from that point forward. Maybe this is just a very well written retcon. Looking back, it still makes a certain amount of sense. I don't like the idea that at that point that nobody is just a person, right? If they grow their own heart. I don't like that. I do think that the way they go about doing it has some merit to it. I would have much preferred if they didn't, though, because, well, let's move on with the next point, because this also ties into to how Sora responds to it. Because at that point, if they have hearts, the whole plan of the organization was to get hearts. So what the fuck does that mean for the organization goals, right? Because if they have hearts, they don't need to get hearts. So why do these nobodies need to do shit? Well, this is where we get. This is where we get to things that we're gonna make it through 2 points, and then we're gonna have another discussion. I'm entirely sure, because the organization's goal was to find a group of at least somewhat willing participants to get hooked up to Kingdom Hearts with the idea of, oh, we'll get a heart because we don't have a heart, not knowing that they actually do have one. The real plan was all those nobodies being hooked up to Kingdom Hearts would have indeed gotten a heart. The exact same heart and mind, that being Xehanorts. The idea was to turn everybody in Organization 13 into Xehanorts.
So the actual Horcrux.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying you had no idea how close you are with the whole Horcruxing. It's literally Horcruxes. Kind of. And Sora, rightfully, is like, what the fuck? You're okay with just turning into another person? That is messed up and weird. To which Zigbar replies, I'm already half Xehanort.
No.
With a very close-up zoom in of his eye.
Uh-huh.
This brings me back to Birth by Sleep. Remember when I asked you, do you notice anything different about Zigbar at the end of the game?
Did he have the yellow eyes?
He didn't the first time we see him, but at the end he does.
Oh.
Halfway through Birth by Sleep, off screen, Zigbar got, and I'm going to use some fan verbiage here, Zigbar got Norded.
Good, what?
Norded. He got turned into part Xehanort. People call that Norting.
Right.
I'm telling you that because I'm going to be using that term quite a lot in the remainder of this video and in the Kingdom Hearts 3 video. Zigbar just halfway through Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep without anybody noticing. Retrospectively, everybody's like, hey, wait a second. But at the time, I've never heard anybody notice this whole situation before Dream Drop was released. He just randomly got Norded and nobody noticed.
Huh.
So you'll note that we have both the eye color changing and the shape of the ear being more pointy.
Right. And the eye patch and scar thingy, but...
Well, that's not Nord related, that's just Terra blasting him in the face with darkness.
Right.
Zigbar, this whole time, has been half Xehanort, and sort of like that's messed the fuck up. That's highly not okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
And he tells Xemnas that, dude, people's hearts aren't just some kind of weird-ass collectible. People's hearts are made of the people we meet and the experiences we have and the emotions we feel. You can't go messing around with all that.
Well, he's one to talk.
Yeah, but he does it the other way around. He takes people into his heart. He doesn't force his heart into other people.
Yeah, fair enough. He's gotta catch them all.
He's just a hotel. Sora's just a hotel, which is very hard to get out of, apparently. But other than that, Sora, he's a prison.
He's Hotel California.
Yeah. Zigbar confirms that, yes, Sora's power does come from his ties with other people. Because, aside from that, why the fuck would the Keyblade even bother with a bitch-ass boy like Sora? Like, Sora's nothing special. The only reason the Keyblade even bothers with him is because he's got his power from his friends. And Sora says, that may be true, but I'm happy to be a small part of something much bigger. The people it did choose, and... say it with me now. My friends are my power.
Oh, God.
I promise you this is building up to something in Kingdom Hearts 3 which will deliver.
Is this, but please tell me this is just a visual and
yeah, no, this is just a visual. It's not like everybody just suddenly shows up.
Also, half the people in this frame he doesn't know.
Yeah, he doesn't know Terra, or Aqua, or Shion.
Or Roxas.
Roxas he does know. Sorta.
Kind of.
Ventus, he doesn't know. So yeah, no, most people he doesn't know. And then we're talking about the Keyblade, and Donald and Goofy also are just kind of there.
They are also his friends.
Yeah,
so.
true, but we're specifically talking about like the people it did choose. That the Keyblade, these fuckers don't have not yet anyway. At some point maybe. I mean, do you remember in Kingdom Hearts 1 when the Keyblade was a one-of-a-kind weapon? Do you see how many fucking Keyblade wielders we have in this screenshot? Okay.
At some point, this is gonna get incredible, and it's if everybody has a Keyblade, nobody does.
It's kind of let's move on. We'll get back to that point because that does indeed become a thing, kind of. So with all that motivational speech, we beat up Xemnas, but joke's on us, he wanted to be beat up because now young Xehanort comes back into the scene. And are you tired about talking about time travel yet?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about time travel a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because he tells Sora that you think you might have won this battle, but the moment you jump this far into the realm of sleep, you're already lost. You're way in the deepest part of the abyss of the realm of sleep, which, that's not really something that you can easily get out of. So,
he's going to limbo?
Kind of, yeah. Darkness limbo.
Well, at least he can get Aqua out.
No, that's darkness hell.
Oh, right.
This is distinctly different from the realm of darkness. So, once again, Xehanort reiterates that this whole adventure, the organization has been orchestrating everything. Sora doesn't even wonder why they kept showing up at all the places and times whenever he was anywhere, right? He was in World 1. They showed up in World 1. He was in World 5. They showed up in World 5. How the fuck did they know to find him there? The answer...
They put an Apple tag on it?
They put an X on his shirt.
And X marks the spot?
This is the recusant sigil.
What now?
Yeah, don't worry about the name. It's a X-shaped sigil that Xehanort uses to track anything, really. So
they put an air tag on him.
They put an air tag on him. Remember in Kingdom Hearts 2 when you asked why the fuck do all these people have X's in their names?
Uh-huh.
This is why. Because they don't have X's in their names. They have the recusant sigil in their names. Meaning that wherever they go, Xehanort can keep tabs on them. Because they have an X-shaped thing in their name.
Yeah, sure.
And they also put it on Sora's shirt, meaning that they could track him throughout this entire game.
So anything, anyone, any vowel that includes 2 lines crossing, that's a tab for...
Don't ask for specifics and mechanics about this, because it's not really elaborated on. It's just this sigil allows them to track Sora, and I don't know if it's explicitly stated, but if not, it's at least heavily implied that that's also why everybody has X names in the organization, because Xehanort gives them the X. And I don't have a screenshot of it. I probably should have. If you go back to Roxas getting his name in Kingdom Hearts 2, I'll see if I can find it real quick. KH2 Roxas name. If you note that it looks like a very fancy axe, and you might be thinking, oh, but that's just the font. No, that's because that axe is not an axe. That's the sigil, which gets like imprinted on Roxas. So that's why the axe names are a thing, is because Xehanort wants to stalk people.
Well, that gives whole nother meaning to having the X Factor.
Oh my god, yeah. That's kind of gross.
Yeah.
So, why are they doing all of this whole orchestrated plan, right? Because they need Sora's heart to be asleep. Because if Sora's heart is asleep, they can use his body as the 13th member of Organization 13. Because they, as we noted at the start of this world, Organization 13 had 12 members, but they need 13. Right. Because they've never had 13 members in their life. They had 13 members for like a week, okay? So they need a 13th vessel for Xehanort to put his heart inside. And Sora was apparently on the list, and that's what this whole thing is about. Putting Sora's heart to sleep so they can put Xehanort's heart in there instead. A little bit more time travel lore is what we were going to get into, I believe. Because, do we have screenshots of that? No. Time travel kind of works in a Harry Potter way in Kingdom Hearts. Which is to say that time travel is possible. You can travel back in time, or forward in time, but that's an entirely separate issue. You can travel back in time, but the events that happen are predestined. So you can't time travel back in time to change something. If you travel back into time, you're just enforcing the way destiny plays out.
So it doesn't matter if you go back or not, shit's gonna happen anyway.
Yeah, the fact you going back from one point in the timeline to another point in the timeline already is part of like the big plan of destiny. To use Spider-Verse terms, canon events are destined to happen, and while there might be a little bit of wiggle room as to how you get there, there's like these breakpoints in time that do need to happen. In that episode of What If with Doctor Strange as well, where he tries to break one of those fixed points, Kingdom Hearts kind of has the same.
That's also the conclusion of the Flash film.
Yeah, but like with better CGI.
Yeah.
I mean, Kingdom Hearts is better CGI. So these destined points in time, some events are destined to happen, and you can time travel all you want. You're always working towards those destined events. When you time travel, though, eventually you will have to go back to your own time period. And all of the memories from your time travel journey will be erased. So when young Xehanort goes back to his own time, he will not remember any of this shit, because that would create a paradox.
Sort of? I mean, in Harry Potter it doesn't, right?
That is because in Harry Potter, they live into the moment where they left. Like in Harry Potter, they just go back like 3 hours, I believe, 4 hours, something like that. And then they just live that time period until their past selves do the time travel, and then they just go Like they live back into the present. Here, that's not necessarily the case. They just like they can move to a period in time, do their thing in that time period, and then at some point have to leave that time period again and go back to their own time period. And that can be like this young Xehanort is from like he's like 16 at this point, and present day Xehanort is like 80. So he's traveling like 60 some years into the future, seeing everything that happens in the future, and then when he goes back into his own time, 60 years back again, he forgets everything that happens in the future.
Then why the fuck go forward?
Because that's destiny. There's also a bit of a grandfather paradox here, because the person that sends him back or forward in time is himself time traveling back in time. Like,
yeah.
If you recall, we had
the Burlak Zack.
This dude.
That one, yeah.
Coming from
also with an X.
Oh fuck yeah. Like the Burlap Sack dude came from the future to the past to send young Xehanort into the future to start this whole plan up. So it's very timey-wimey and weird.
So basically it's Xehanort just delegating this task to his younger self because he can't be bothered.
Something like that, yeah. It's needlessly complicated, and I don't quite... nobody fully understands it because it doesn't fully make sense.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to keep things as mechanical as possible so we can try to understand at least to a certain extent. Great part is, after Kingdom Hearts 3, this type of time travel likely is not going to come back.
Okay.
There will be a different type.
No.
So Sora's heart falls deeper and deeper into the darkness, but there's another heart that comes down with Sora and protects him, wrapping him inside Ventus's Keyblade armor to protect him from the darkness. Meanwhile, back with Riku, the actual main character of this goddamn series, he finds Sora in a bubble, asleep, telling him to wake up and not chase the dreams. The exact words that we heard before in Sora's campaign, muffled in the background. We now hear them from actual Riku, from his perspective. And as he does that, we get into a randomized boss fight against a dude in a cloak, which is not an organization member. It's
Fabulous organization member.
It's just a nightmare. This is a Dream Eater. This is not a person. This is a Dream Eater.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I don't know why he's in the cloak.
But looking fabulous, though.
I guess they probably just didn't want to design a new model and they just slapped an extra texture on this dude and that was it. Because I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure this is just a model for young Xehanort with the hood up, if I look at the body proportions. Because credit where credit is due, when they have their hoods up, they all have individual unique models, at least. But I think this one is just reused from young Xehanort.
Probably.
After beating this random fight that doesn't need to exist, Riku learns that he is inside of a dream. Well, yeah, we kind of already know that. But no. He is inside of a dream. Inside of a dream. We do more Inception stuff. Because this entire game, he's been inside of Sora's dreams. Back in the beginning of the game, when Mr. Burlap Sack showed up, Riku sensed something is kind of fucky here. And instead of jumping into the sleeping keyhole, like we thought he did, what he actually did is he jumped into Sora's dreams, becoming a Dream Eater himself. And here's another thing that I know you didn't play through the game, but most people who play through the game don't notice this up until this point. In this screenshot, I made sure to include the back of Riku's outfit.
Yeah.
That's a Dream Eater symbol. This is even worse because the entirety of the game, you're looking
at his back.
And most people I see talking about this don't connect, including me, by the way, don't connect those dots until this very scene. And at that point, you're like, fuck!
Well, I mean, Sora gets new clothes, he gets new clothes, and you
exactly,
that's that.
And Sora has the weird axe, which you don't really pay attention to because it's fucking Square Enix, and Riku has a weird design on his back, and you don't connect the dots. And honestly, this is really well done.
The axe, I can see that's just, crossing to belts or zippers or whatever. That's just something they do. That's just this game series.
Yeah.
But this is quite a specific symbol.
Yeah, and it's honestly, like, now that you know this, it's really hard to imagine not linking up those dots during the, 20 hours of gameplay that you're looking at this dude's ass. It's it's not a way storytelling usually is done in a lot of video games. And they get away with it. They won't get away with it the second time, because now that people know that this is a thing that they do, people go fucking crazy. And maybe at some point we'll cover... we probably won't, because it makes me irrationally angry. There is a fan theory that the entirety of Kingdom Hearts 3 also takes place in a dream.
Oh, yeah. I mean, having this game just opens up Pandora's box for fan theories, as it was all a dream, and yeah.
Yeah, and there's certain like design decisions in the character designs for Kingdom Hearts 3 that could lead to that as well. And the only reason that people make that connection is because this game actually did it. You think that my notes for these videos are long.
Uh-huh.
The document for the Sleeping Realm theory, which is what that's called, is like 300 pages long.
God, dude.
It has images in it, though. Like, they don't have a separate slide. Like, their slides are just in the document, but still, it's long. So Riku learns that he's inside of Sora's dreams this entire time. And he sees that it's Ansem telling him this. Because, of course, if we need a bad guy for Riku to talk to, it's got to be Ansem. And Riku notes that looking at Ansem kind of gives him a weird sense of deja vu. Because when he was a little kid, he met a certain somebody and promised to keep a secret. So looking at Ansem reminds Riku of looking at Terra.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into the most over-the-top Ansem fight in the entire series, and I fucking love it. I don't have screenshots of that, so we're moving on to what happens after that. That being the Dark Guardian figure, which I introduced last time, because I've got to talk about it in Kingdom Hearts 1, reaches out to Riku, who then just simply looks back up to him while he fades away. The Guardian fades away with Ansem.
Because he is immune for the darkness, right?
I don't want to give you a straight answer, because in Kingdom Hearts 3 they act like this is a big reveal, and a lot of people playing 3 are really like mind blown when this reveal happens, while I jumped to this conclusion playing Birth by Sleep, and then playing this game that kind of confirmed it for me. And then a lot of people were just like kind of stupid and didn't realize it until 3 literally said it. So I'm just going to say it. The figure reaches out to Riku, and Riku looks back up at it, not as like a defiance or like, come at me bro, but peacefully. And then he fades away. And Riku's left standing there with his Keyblade in hand, saying strength to protect the things that matter. Which is the exact line that he says to Terra in Birth by Sleep. That's why he wants to become more powerful and leave the Destiny Islands to find strength to protect the people that he loves. Implying very heavily here that this Guardian figure is Terra.
Right. Oh, that's, yeah, okay.
Because it was created from darkness inside Xehanort during the fight with Aqua, but that's in Terra's body. So what happened there is Terra's darkness gets expelled out of the body, forming this Heartless.
Interesting.
Again, my initial theory when seeing that Guardian Heartless form in Birth by Sleep was like, oh, that's Terra's darkness. That's like Terra's Heartless. And Xehanort has control over it. And then this scene happened, and a lot of people still didn't jump to that conclusion. And in 3, I'll just tell you, in 3, Terra regains control and gets his body back. And we see him rip off those bandages from his mouth, and Terra's voice comes out of this thing.
That's going to be jarring, having a friendly female voice coming out of this.
It's a male voice. Terra's the dude. It's the brown-haired dude.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah.
It's kind of jarring, but it's also, you can definitely tell in that scene in Kingdom Hearts 3, it's like a very raspy voice. You can tell that he hasn't used his voice in 10 years, which is also kind of a neat thing, because the bandages are preventing him from speaking, which in 3 is a very much more clear because it's less flat textures than in this screenshot. Because here it's very flat. But hey, again, 3DS game. Give him a break. Finally, Riku manages to get back to the real world. We are not inside of a dream and 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 sleep and sleep and a dream and sleep anymore.
He still has the same thingy on.
He still has the same outfit because Sora is still asleep. So, because Sora is still asleep, he still has his Dream Eater powers, is the explanation they go with. Don't think about it. Because after this scene, he is back in his Kingdom Hearts 2 outfit, but Sora is still asleep. So, don't think about it. He is in the organization's throne room, where they, like the 13 thrones in the White Void, where they always have their meetings. That's where Riku is now. And all the organization members show up, including a Master Xehanort, old Xehanort, that is still in the process of reforming, but also Sora, Sleepy Boy Sora, shows up.
Yeah, because they're trying to include him. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna Nord Sora. And Riku thinks, okay, before Sora gets Norded, maybe just grab him and get the fuck out of here. I don't want any piece of this whole drama. So he goes to grab Sora, and young Xehanort shows up. That's old Xehanort in the process of reforming. Young Xehanort shows up and is like, nope, you're not taking Sora. That's my boy now. He explains that originally the organization planned to use Riku as the 13th vessel, but then he kind of became immune to darkness. So they figured, let's do the same thing that the Keyblade did and just move down the list of potential candidates. And they found Roxas, which was absolutely perfect because he's broken as powerful, but he kind of became self-aware and ran away to join back with Sora. So, fuck, that doesn't work either. Next one down the list. Fuck it, let's just use Sora.
Yeah.
So Sora is literally the third option for these guys. It's not even like we want the powerful main character to be part of our... No, he's literally just the backup for the backup.
He's asleep, he can't hear that, so...
It's still insulting.
Yeah.
But just as all hope seems lost, Mickey the fuck you really can't do anything on your own, can you? Mouse shows up and freezes time, telling to Riku to grab Sora and get the fuck out. Also, that's the wrong screenshot. Yeah, this iteration of the organization is called the Real Organization 13.
Yeah, because that always makes you very legit, having the real.
It kind of gives me the vibes of, and not a lot of people are going to relate to this, but I really do. If you're like in media in any sort of way, you will relate to this. It has the same vibes as export final version 1.2, 0.3, 0.5, edit fix 0.3.
Yeah.
Kind of that vibe. Mickey shows up and freezes time so that Riku can get Sora and get the fuck out, because we're not dealing with 12 Xehanorts at the same time. That seems like a very, very bad idea.
Also, the power to stop time would have been useful quite a few times before.
Yep, Mickey can just kind of do that.
Alright, let's not think about it.
To be fair, stop, which is literally what the spell is called, is a spell that Sora can use in Kingdom Hearts 1. Just Mickey has a much more powerful version of it. Because in Kingdom Hearts 1, it's just like you freeze a couple of enemies around you for like a second, and then the upgraded version is like a couple more enemies for like 2 seconds, and then the final upgrade for it is like all the enemies around you for like 5 seconds or something like that. But Mickey can just stop all these powerful people around him long enough to have a whole ass conversation.
That's just showing off at that point.
Yeah. Somehow though, I don't have a screenshot of that. Somehow young Xehanort is not affected by this spell. Maybe because he's a time traveler, maybe whatever. There's no real explanation given for it. And you fight the final boss of the game, Riku versus young Xehanort. And my god, it's an annoying fight, because bosses in this series tend to have what people call desperation moves, which is if you hit them down to a certain amount of HP, they will always trigger a specific special powerful attack to just more spectacle and to keep people from just beating them up until they're dead. That's all fun. Young Xehanort's desperation move is he spawns in an object in the middle of the arena, and he tries to get you to not be able to make it to that object. And then when you get to that object, you need to do a small mini game. And if you fail to do all that within a time period, he gets back most of his HP.
That sucks big time.
So, yeah, most desperation moves are just like, okay, you probably want to like just dodge a lot so that you don't die. And sometimes you can like stagger or counter a boss fight in the desperation move, and that's fine. This one is literally, if you don't do it properly, you just kind of restart the boss fight. Except you don't restore your items and your health. So you're better off dying than losing that desperation move.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it's honestly just straight up bad game design. It's also the only boss fight in the game where you can't, like, the drop gauge is gone because Sora is just, like, fucking asleep at this point, so you can't go back to Sora. So there's no time limit on it, at least. But it's still bad game design. Anyway, after we do beat him, like 3 hours later or something, Time gets unfrozen and the big Baldy shows up and tells us what the setup for his plan is, because he has Organization 13, the true Organization 13, version 3.5, which he's going to fill with pure darkness. And he's going to make them fight against the 7 Guardians of Light. And then we have 13 and 7, and where have we heard that before? That will then properly recreate the Kikai X whatever blade. There's only one little issue with that, and that is that Xehanort is about to get his 13th darkness. That's fine. But we're kind of short a few light people, because we have Mickey and Riku and Sora and Terra and Aqua and Ventus. So that's not even 7, that's 6. But Sora and Terra are on Xehanort's side, so we have 4 for the light side. So we're missing 3 whole ass Guardians of Light. Speaking of which, by the way, I think it's about time that we get to Norting Sora, because Sora's just sitting there sleeping, and we need to get a little bit of Nord in there.
Yeah.
So as Xehanort blasts his Nord juice towards Sora,
That sounds disgusting. Yeah.
yep, we see it explodes. It was blocked by our favorite boy, Lee, Axel. Again, here, Riku says, Axel, it's you. And he's like, no, it's Lee.
No, man. Shut up, man.
Yeah. And again, this game being self-aware, Lee, Axel, tells Xehanort that you had your perfect little script written, but you kind of forgot to write the sequel. Which is just this entire series summed up by one of its characters.
Yep.
So one of the Xehanorts jumps up from his chair to attack Axel and get Sora back, and the hood flies back, and we see Saïx is back as one of the bad guys too. So Saïx also is a Xehanort. That doesn't really lead to anything, because there's some more uninteresting fights. Xemnas and Ansem hold down Sora, not Sora, Riku and Mickey, and then Donald and Goofy come in with Star Shard, because that's where the plot needs them to be.
Yeah.
And that apparently just fucking destroys the 2 most powerful people in the organization somehow. I don't know. And then they just all get out of there. So that's the climax. Now we're just dealing with the ramifications of this, because we've saved Sora. Hooray! But he's still asleep.
Right.
We prevented him from getting Norded. That's cool. But we didn't wake him up.
And the axe is gone from his shirt.
Yeah, and he's back in his normal fucking clothing again. Fucking thank you. No idea. You make a good point. They were back in the real world at that point, I'm pretty sure. At least that's what Riku says. I don't know if Riku might have been wrong, but Riku says...
Well, the logo is gone from his shirt, so...
Yeah, but I mean, also, like, when they're here, they're back in the real world, because we have, like, Lee showing up, and everybody's just showing up all over the place. But Sora's still in his young body and in his different clothes in the real world. So that is a inconsistency. That's an error. Again, this game's kind of weird with swapping out different character models for no good reason. They could have very easily made that last cutscene with this character model, because they have this character model in the game. I don't understand it. Anyway, Mickey sees the dramatic irony here and is like, hey, this feels kind of like when Ventus was sleeping in this exact same spot.
Yeah.
But Yensid says, no, this is actually kind of different, because Ventus's heart was damaged. Sora's heart is just asleep. So this one we can maybe wake up, because Riku has been inside Sora's dream this whole game. So he's kind of used to being inside Sora, his dream.
Yeah, good save. Good save.
So Riku, again, dives back into Sora's dream, where he fights a very bad screenshot. He fights the corrupted armor of Ventus, which has Sora inside it.
Looking very badass.
Yeah. And this is the actual, like, final boss fight of the game, but it's more of an epilogue fight than the actual final boss fight, because young Xehanort is a fucking bitch. It's also a pretty easy fight, mostly visual spectacle, more so than an actual, like, difficult boss fight. So we beat...
Fun for an epilogue.
Yeah, exactly. So we beat that, the armor breaks apart. I don't have a screenshot of that because I was lazy and it was late at this point. The armor breaks apart, Sora falls to the ground through a portal of darkness, and Riku's like, fuck, I need to chase after him again.
This boy can't do anything on his own.
Literally nothing. So Riku picks up Sora's Keyblade, opens up another portal to dive even deeper into Sora's heart. And what does the deepest point in Sora's heart look like?
Like an hotel.
That's You're not wrong, is the funny thing.
Oh.
Destiny Islands. Because on the Destiny Islands, he runs into...
Everybody living in Sora's heart.
Well, literally he does.
Yeah.
He first runs into Roxas, who asks him a question, and you as the player get 3 options to answer with. Then Riku walks onto the beach, and he runs into Ventus, and he's like, "Hey, Roxas, didn't I just talk to you?" "Oh, wait, you're not Roxas." Ventus asks him a question. You get to choose from 3 different people, 3 different answers. And then he makes his way up to the tree that they always sit on. And there he finds Shion. And he's like, "Who the hell are you?" And Shion asks him a question. And at this point, Riku's like, "Great, more fucking questions." He literally says, "Great, more questions." You answer the question. And then you go back to the beach. And apparently, Ansem the Wise is also living in here.
What?
While Sora was asleep between Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, he was in Ansem the Wise's care.
Yeah.
And during that time, Ansem the Wise encoded himself, like a copy of himself and all of his research, into Sora's heart. He just uses Sora's heart as an SSD. So Ansem the Wise is also just hanging out in Sora's heart now.
Well, sort of.
Kind of. A copy of him is inside Sora's heart.
Well, it's good to have an alternate backup. So.
It's good to have a backup. There's a lot of backups in Sora's heart, so I don't know. I feel like his storage space is starting to run out at some point. And Riku says, "Okay, this is all kind of a little weird, but I'm trying to wake Sora up, so do you got any pointers for that? Because I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing." And Ansem's, "Don't worry about that, man. The moment you talk to those 3 fuckers over there, Sora woke up. Sora's fine. You can go back into the real world." I don't know how Ansem knows this, but he is right, because...
I mean, he is called the Wise, so, he knows some shit.
He's also just computer data stored in the heart.
Yeah, true.
Which I'm not even going to try to explain how that works, because I don't know.
Yeah.
Riku goes back up to the real world, where Sora's having a tea party to celebrate that they finished their exam. Speaking of which, we almost forgot that this entire thing was an exam, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, did they pass, is the question.
Did they actually learn something?
And the answer is, Riku, you did fantastically. You saved the day. You even went back into Sora, his heart, to save him again. Good job. Sora, you fell into the darkness, you absolute fucking idiot. So, Riku passes and is now made the newest Keyblade Master. Sora fails.
Fair enough.
Entirely fair enough. Not something that you would see coming for the main character when the goal is to pass.
Yeah.
Which reiterates my point of Riku is the main character, not Sora. You just play as Sora the whole time, but Riku is the main character.
The Sora's just an easy, vessel to project on.
Yeah, and Sora's entirely happy for Riku, not even sad that he failed, he's just very happy for Riku, like, "Oh man, you're a Keyblade Master now, oh, good job, well done, I'm so happy for you." In the background, Lee is just sulking, saying, "Good job, I guess. I'm gonna catch up to you. I'm gonna beat your ass so fucking good in a little bit." And everybody thinks, "The fuck are you talking about? We're talking about Keyblade Masters. You have your chakrams. Just stay in your lane, okay?" Yeah, no, about that.
Of course.
It's a Keyblade bargain sale.
I do like the expression on everybody's face.
Then everybody has the exact same reaction that the player has at this point.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? So, Lee is also going to be having a Keyblade, and I don't like it one bit.
You get a Keyblade. You get a Keyblade.
I mean, I like the design of the Keyblade, but it just...
Oh, yeah.
It feels so weird. In Kingdom Hearts 3, we see him use it, and it's just, stick with the chakrams, dude. It fits so much better.
Just say that, the 2 chakrams together are 1 Keyblade, and just use them the 2 separate.
I honestly hope that they're going that route, because more and more, for gameplay purposes at least, Keyblades are able to transform and change their shape and how you use them. So really what I'm hoping is that they're introducing that into a lore perspective, and his Keyblade is just going to end up being his chakrams.
Yeah.
Is what I'm hoping, because this is just weird. Really weird. So yeah, Axel Lee has a Keyblade now. Sora has failed and thinks, "I'm going to need to do a little bit more training. I need some time to myself on my own, away from everybody again." So Sora goes back into the realm of sleep to go thank the Dream Eaters for helping him out on his journey, even though he failed his journey, he still wants to thank them for helping out.
Thank you for failing with me.
Exactly. And somewhere, far away, in Castle Oblivion, Fen smiles. This is really fucking sad, for reasons you do not understand.
I'm counting on it.
Now, post-credit scene. That was the entirety of the game.
Yeah.
Yen Sid is thinking, we need Guardians of Light. Because if we don't get the Guardians of Light, Xehanort is just going to attack the Princesses of Light and still make the Keyblade. So, we don't have a choice. We need Guardians of Light because that way at least we have a group of people that can fight instead of a bunch of women.
Yeah.
So, he's trying to find Keyblade wielders. And they're working on getting Ventus and Aqua and who knows, maybe even Terra back. But for the time being, they're going to need more. They have Lee now, but you can't have too many Keyblade wielders here. We need people to protect the light.
Yeah.
Kairi can wield a Keyblade.
Yeah, sure.
So she's getting pulled into this, and she's going to be training off-screen alongside Lee to be useful with the Keyblade.
Huh. So
she's gonna do a thing!
She's gonna do a thing. She's actually gonna get useful.
Don't get your hopes up.
Yeah.
That leaves us with final count of our characters and their iterations, and then we're done with the weirdest fucking game in the series. We have all the different Rikus.
Yeah, because there's one extra introduced here.
Maybe.
Right? Maybe, sort of.
We have Riku, Replica Riku, Data Riku, which is the one from the journal in Codet. I don't think we counted that one last time. And maybe Dream Riku now? I don't know. I'm not going to count them going forward because it's not explicitly a different Riku, but it might be.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have the Soras, which is Sora, Roxas, Shion, Naminé, Ventus, Vanitas, and Digital Sora, which also I don't think I counted last time. Kairis, which is Kairi, Naminé, and Shion. Technically, you could also say Digital Naminé because there is a Naminé in Codet, but she has like 3 lines and even less personality than the original Naminé, so I'm not going to count her. And Xehanort, we know that there's 12 of them.
Yeah.
We don't know who they all are. The ones that we do know of are Master Xehanort, Terra Xehanort, Zigbar, Sayax, Young Xehanort, Ansem, and Xemnas. So that's 7 of them that we know of.
Well, can we count Young Xehanort as separate?
I mean, Young Xehanort is just a young version of old Master Xehanort. So
yeah, he's not really
he's not a separate
in that sense.
No, but technically speaking, neither is Terra because that's just Terra Xehanort because that's just Xehanort's inhabiting Terra's body. In a timeline sense, they don't really coexist. Like Master Xehanort doesn't exist at the same time as Terranort. They're just like Terranort's the sequel.
Yeah, fair enough.
But with this whole time travel thing, I'm just gonna tell you, we've seen in this game that Young Xehanort and Master Xehanort exist together in the same room. One of those people in the robes that we didn't see their face of, I can just confirm for you right now, is Terra Xehanort.
Mm-hmm.
So during Kingdom Hearts 3, all of these Xehanorts are going to be running around at the same time as each other. So that's why I'm counting them as separate versions of Xehanort.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that's been Dream Drop. Next time, we're going to have a bit of a shorter one. Next time, we're going to have such a short one that I'm actually doing 2 games next time.
Oh.
Because next time, we're doing the other 2 games that are on the remake disc for this game, for the PS4. That is Kingdom Hearts, and this is the one that you almost had a stroke the last time I said the name. Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, A Fragmentary Passage.
Uh-huh.
Which is Aqua's Adventure in the Realm of Darkness. That's only about 3 hours long, usually. The cutscene compilation is under an hour. It's 15 minutes. So that's way too short to make a standalone separate video on. Then we also have Kingdom Hearts Key back cover, which is the events of the mobile game in a movie format from a different perspective.
Alrighty.
Which is about an hour and a half. So this game was about 5 hours of cutscene. Those 2 things added together is going to be about 2.5 hours. So it's probably going to be shorter than this one. And it's 2 games in total. And after that, we finally get to Kingdom Hearts 3, which is likely going to be 3 parts.
Where they're